Cool your jets, everybody. The Boston Bruins got back to their winning ways last night, breaking a 2-game losing streak with a win over the Jets, thanks to a brilliant performance from Jeremy Swayman. Let's talk about it here on today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Friday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And I want to remind you, well, first, thank you for making Locked On Boston Bruins part of your day. The podcast is free and available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. So please do smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing down the stretch in the regular season and into the playoffs. If you want to follow along on Twitter and Instagram, you can find the podcast at Locked NHL Bruins, and you can find me, my dad jokes, and hockey tweets at Ian C. McLaren. Thanks for bearing with me yesterday with no show. Quick rip down to Niagara Falls with my boys. We spent the night in a hotel, watched some Netflix, jumped in a pool that was not heated, very cold, did some mini golf, went to the Hershey store, hit the outlet mall. Crocs are really big with kids these days again. Did we know this? And you have these gibbets that you put on them. Anyways, it was a fun trip. Got home in time to watch the Bruins defeat the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to talk about that. We're going to update the Cup Check, a weekly look at the top 5 teams around the NHL, where the Bruins rank among them, and then look ahead to the weekend's action. Jeremy Swayman was the big story last night, making 36 saves, leading the Bruins to a 3-0 victory over the Winnipeg Jets. The Bruins snapping a 2-game skid in their third game of a 5-game road trip. They had lost to Detroit, they had lost to Chicago to open the road trip, and Jeremy Swayman stealing the show with his best game of the year. His 8th career shutout and his 47th career win, matching the number of wins earned by Tuukka Rask under the age of 25, which is pretty remarkable. He also was instrumental as the Bruins killed all 5 penalties against, again, keeping the Winnipeg Jets at bay. Swayman says, "We expect a lot of ourselves each night, and it's special to get this bounce-back win, a good team win that the Bruins were excited about, and hopefully they can keep it going." The Bruins penalty kill, again, outstanding. Therefore, outworking their 5, said Swayman. And, he personally was coming off 2 straight losses, one in Detroit, one against the Oilers last week. Everybody kind of needed a reset, and the goaltenders were not excused from needing that reset, said Jim Montgomery. The whole team needed it. The goalies are a huge part of their success that they've had all year. Team went in a little bit of a funk, and hopefully they are done with it. Swayman's 8 shutouts rank 3rd in Bruins history among goalies under the age of 25. Frank Brimsick had 16. Tuukka Rask had 11. And again, the victory was the 47th of his career, putting him in a tie for 2nd among Bruins goalies under 25, with Rask trailing Brimsick, who had 64. And this whole reset thing was a big focus last night. Jeremy Swayman saying, "They know the regular season isn't done. It's time to look at each other in the eye and understand there's still more to do. Haven't proven anything yet. It's game by game, changing that mindset is going to help us along the way. The Bruins have 15 games left. They want to finish strong. And it was Tyler Bertuzzi and Trent Frederic who helped them start strong again last night. First minute of the first period, Bertuzzi found Frederic open from behind the net, giving him his third assist in 6 games for the Bruins, setting up Trent Frederic, I believe, for the second straight game. Trent Frederic now with his first career 15-goal season. Pavel Zacha set a career high as well, 18th goal on a dart past Connor Hellebuyck, who's no easy goalie to beat. His 18th of a season, giving the Bruins that 2-0 lead. And then Thomas Nosek adding the empty netter. Zacha, again, putting it all in a team, turning around and winning against a really good team is something that they wanted to accomplish. You know, it's easy to play down to Detroit, Chicago, when you've already clinched a playoff spot. You've clinched 50 wins, well past 100 points. But to come back and rebound against a very good Jets team who's fighting for playoff position, huge for the Bruins, and it was an encouraging win. There was some bad news as Derek Forbort blocked a shot in the second period, did not return for the third, and he will likely miss the remaining 2 games of the road trip. Jim Montgomery said they're going to get him evaluated here this morning. The Bruins are set to practice this afternoon in Minnesota, but they know he's not going to play for probably the rest of the trip. Big loss, but they do have reinforcements on hand. They have 8 healthy defensemen, so someone's still going to need to sit. And we'll see who gets the call tomorrow against the Minnesota Wild, the game that we'll preview later on in the podcast. Big Bear of the night, no question, goes to Jeremy Swayman. 36 saves for his 8th career shutout. And Swayman haters trembling as he ties Tuukka Rask for the most wins by a goalie, 25 and under in Bruins history. He doesn't turn 25 until November 24th, so he's most certainly going to add to those totals. 47, 23, and 7 record for his career, 919 save percentage in 80 games, 75 starts. This season, 26 starts, 17, 6, and 4, a 917 save percentage. He's a very good goalie. Restricted free agent coming up this summer, due a new contract. We'll have to see what that valuation is, but he is very valuable to this Bruins team. All right, we're going to do our weekly cup check where we look at the NHL's top 5 teams and look at where the Bruins stack up amongst them. But first, a quick word about today's sponsor, which is the FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of Locked On and the NBA. They're America's number 1 sportsbook, and new customers right now can get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000 in bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, which is safe, secure, super easy to use, and you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment or more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so the Boston Bruins, clearly the top team in the NHL when it comes to our weekly cup check, which is a look at top 5 teams and how the Bruins rank among them. Right now, they have a 799 point percentage, 107 points, 11 clear of the second place Carolina Hurricanes, although Carolina has a game in hand. The Bruins have the second highest goals for per game, trailing the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton's at 3.88, Boston's at 3.72, and they have by far the best team defense, allowing 2.16 goals per game. Carolina's next at 2.52. The power play, we all know, has been struggling lately, ranked 12th in the NHL at the moment. The penalty kill, however, still number one. We'll see how that is maintained with Derek Forbort out of the lineup for at least a couple months. That's a big picture in terms of whole season long. But let's look at the last 17 games or so, dating back to February 1st. The Bruins rank third in the NHL in point percentage since February 1st, trailing the Vegas Golden Knights, and number one in the NHL since February 1st, the Los Angeles Kings. They're 12-2-2. Boston, third in goals per game since February 1st. They remain, well, they're third in goals allowed per game since February 1st, 2.06. Carolina Hurricanes, number one in that regard. Colorado Avalanche are up there. The New Jersey Devils are up there in the top five since February 1st. So it's diversifying a little bit. Before the season, the Bruins remain the top team in the NHL. Who are the teams to be worried about? Well, of course, the Carolina Hurricanes are up there, although they did lose star Andrei Svechnikov recently. That's a huge loss for them. They're already without Max Pacioretty, and they didn't do much to fill those holes prior to the trade deadline, adding Shane Gostisbehere and Jesse Puljujarvi. The New Jersey Devils are only 1 point back of Carolina atop the Metropolitan Division, and they have a game in hand on them as well. Actually, no, sorry. Carolina has 2 games in hand on New Jersey, so they're doing pretty good. The Vegas Golden Knights, like I mentioned, the Los Angeles Kings, pushing for top 5 spots in terms of point percentage. The Knights are right there. The Kings are in 7th, just behind the New York Rangers. Toronto Maple Leafs in 4th place. Minnesota Wild, Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, the teams to watch out west. So, big picture. When it comes to the cup check, Boston's health in terms of contention, I mean, they're still the number one team in the NHL by a pretty wide margin overall. Let's expand it back to January 1st. The Bruins, number one in point percentage since January 1st, 23-7-1. The Devils are number 2, the Rangers number 3, the Kings number 4, and the Hurricanes number 5. So there's a theme here. The 2 teams in the East worth watching, the Devils and the Hurricanes, clearly. And that's a big battle for number 1 because the second place team will have to play the New York Rangers in the first round, whereas the first place team will get to play the first wildcard team. Much easier matchup, whether it be the Penguins, the Islanders, or the Florida Panthers are charging up there as well. Of course, in the Atlantic, Toronto, Tampa Bay fighting for home ice advantage there. It used to be that the top 5-6 teams were all from the East, but like I said, LA, Vegas, Colorado, all humming right now and present pretty big challenges. If all goes well, the Bruins do indeed advance to the Stanley Cup final. If we look at some of the underlying numbers, again, the Bruins not number one in shot attempt differential. In fact, they're 15th in the NHL at 5-on-5 at the moment. when it comes to shot differential 5-on-5. The Bruins a bit better there. They rank 8th. Expected goals, they rank 5th. High danger chances, they rank 7th, I believe. Where they really excel, of course, is in goaltending. They lead the NHL in save percentage, 5-on-5, 93.83. Shooting percentage, they ranked 6th. So if they can rediscover their power play, if they can maintain this 5-on-5 scoring, which, think about it, right now the Bruins' third line has been producing pretty well with Tyler Bertuzzi. Again, can't say it enough how much I love Tyler Bertuzzi in black and gold. He's yet to score, but he's helping drive play, aggressive on the forecheck, making plays, setting up a couple goals in recent games. And if you subtract Frederic from that line and add Tyler Bertuzzi and Taylor Hall with Charlie Coyle, I mean, come on. That's going to be a pretty good looking line. Trent Frederic, 15 goal scorer on the fourth line. You're laughing. If they can rediscover their power play, then, I mean, there's no reason why this team should lose in the playoffs. But that's a big question. As I mentioned earlier this week, one of the priorities is finding the power play. And they also need to settle on defensive pairings for the postseason. That issue has been not resolved, but foreboard out of the lineup. So you'll get a chance to really settle on some pairings here in the next couple of games. Probably bring Jakub Zboril in to give somebody a rest. But that needs to be settled as well. But altogether, 15 games remaining on the schedule. The Bruins, the team to beat in the NHL. They do have a couple games coming up over the weekend. We're going to preview those here in a sec, but I want to thank you again for making Locked On Boston Bruins part of your day every single day, free and available on your favorite podcast app, as well as on YouTube. So please do smash that subscribe button so that you never miss a thing. Boston's next game will be tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, against the Minnesota Wild. The Wild are 7-0-3 over their last 10 games. The Bruins did beat them in their previous matchup way back in October, a 4-3 decision. They were just involved in a spirited matchup the other night against the St. Louis Blues, where we all were hoping that Marc-Andre Fleury would have been given an opportunity to punch Jordan Binnington in the face. The Bruins now 7-3-0 over their last 10 games. So the Wild coming in a bit hotter here. They are without leading scorer Kirill Kaprizov. Quite remarkable that they've been able to maintain their winning ways without him. But they have some sneaky depth and some pretty good players up front. Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson-Ek, Marcus Johansson back in the mix, Matt Zuccarello, and their goaltending is also very good. We'll see if it's Fleury or Gustafsson. Philip Gustafsson, he has better numbers than Fleury this season at .931 save percentage, very close to Linus Ullmark's .935. I would expect Ullmark will get the start here on Saturday, with Swayman getting the nod on Sunday in Buffalo, but perhaps Montgomery will ride the proverbial hot hand and go back to Swayman for that game. The disadvantage here, I should mention too, overall, Minnesota struggling to score this season. They have a 24th ranked offense, 2.88 goals per game. They're very good defensively, however. Third ranked goals allowed, 2.63. So it could be a low scoring affair. But like I mentioned, the previous game was 4-3. Now the Bruins will play on Sunday in Buffalo as well. The Sabres will be in action tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers on the road. Then they have tomorrow off. So that could be a disadvantage for the Bruins. Back-to-back games, Saturday, Sunday, whereas Buffalo has Saturday off at home to get ready for this game against the Bruins. And, they're going to be a desperate team. They're clinging to some playoff hopes. Right now, they're 6 points back of the New York Islanders, 3 points back of the Florida Panthers. They do have games in hand, however. 3 games in hand on the Islanders and 3 points back. They have a game in hand on the Panthers, and they're 6 points back of the Islanders, 3 points back of the Panthers. If you look at conference standings, go by point percentage, then they're trailing both of those teams. But again, they have games in hand, and they are going to be looking to do all they can to stay in that playoff race. They're 3-5-2 over their last 10. They will be playing Philadelphia tonight. That's a winnable game. And they're going to be a desperate hockey team, more rested than the Bruins. So that could be one that the Bruins kind of get trapped in, but we'll have to see how that plays out. All right, that's today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Great bounce back win for the Bruins over a pretty good Jets team. And Connor Hellebuyck, who's one of the best goalies in the NHL, Swayman outplaying him by a wide margin. And we're so lucky to have both Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman in net. I hope you've all had a great week. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll talk to you again here next time on the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day. Oh, I should mention, I'm going down to the Storm game tonight. Going to see our boy Matt Poitras in action. So we'll have a full report of that on the next episode as well. Looking forward to seeing him in action tonight. All right. Take care, friends.